Hi, my name's Matt Bauer, and along with my colleague Mark Alfano, we've been working on the general topic of artificial intelligence in education and have created this ChatGPT for Teachers video. So, ChatGPT has been quite a prevalent topic in the media recently. A lot of people are wondering what the future might hold for education with the rise of artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT. It's created by a consortium called OpenAI, and it's freely available on the web. You can create an account, and you can use sort of Google or Microsoft or just your email address, and you will reach an interface like this one. So rather than talk about it, I'm just going to show you what ChatGPT can do. So I teach educational technology and to undergraduates and postgraduates. So I took, for instance, one of my quiz questions from one of my units, and I asked it to ChatGPT. I prided myself in it being quite an authentic question that I wouldn't have thought it would have been so easy for ChatGPT to answer, but actually ChatGPT was easily able to answer a lot of my multiple choice questions. I also, in some of my units, have forum tasks that students complete. So for instance, what technology enhanced learning design models or approaches are most helpful for supporting the design of high school science lessons? And they're expected to reference in APA, use research literature, and whatnot. And when I asked ChatGPT to create an open-ended response, it's quite happy to just get on with it and create that. And you can adjust the specificity of what you're asking it, and it will very happily cater to any of the criteria, or at least a lot of the criteria that you might care to give it. It will also provide you with references in whatever referencing format that you request. It will also, because my forum tasks at university require students to provide responses to their peers, and it will quite happily critique someone else's response. And so, for instance, if I ask it to provide a critical response to the post above, and it doesn't have to be the response above, it could be any one that a student copied and pasted from the forum, it will actually get straight to work and do that as well. So a little bit more information about it. It stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer, and it's a chatbot, uses large language models to return responses based on natural language requests from users, trained on masses of data scraped from the internet to form a neural network that it bases its responses on, accepts 2048 tokens as input, and a token is like a word or word part, and it contains 175 billion parameters like how long the response is, the sort of characteristics, how creative the response is, etc. It uses probability analysis to return what the most likely word or token will be next. It uses machine learning, both supervised and reinforced, to continually improve its responses. So we should expect it to get better and better and better. It's created by a consortium of tech leaders, international, and you may know some of those names there. So it's really got strong backing and intellectual underpinning. It was released on 30th of November last year, and already it has millions and millions of users. It can provide not only explanations, but write poems, compose computer programs, create simulations, and it's approaching this idea of artificial general intelligence, more than just for specific tasks, a wide range of human-like responses to tasks. But the quality of responses at the moment, it varies from actually very good to totally erroneous. For education, though, ChatGPT provides students with answers to their questions, including multiple choice questions, short answer and essay responses. So this is obviously quite a disruption for education. So what I thought I'd do is a little case study of cobbling together assessments from a few of my different units, but to create an assessment scheme that might be typical of subjects in a lot of different areas, not just educational technology. So the idea was that there was 10% of the unit was for multiple choice questions, 20% for forum discussion posts, 40% for a learning technology module design and a justification of the design, and the final exam essay was worth 30%. So I ran what I felt were quite authentic multiple choice questions and contextualized through ChatGPT, and I gave you an example of that at the beginning when I was showcasing how ChatGPT worked, and ChatGPT was able to score 8 out of 10, which was quite surprising to me. In terms of the discussion forum posts, the task involves students engaging in scholarly discussions relevant to the unit, demonstrating pedagogical reflection, contextualization, responding to peers, and ChatGPT happily got on with that. But do note that sometimes, even oftentimes, the references that it includes sound like they're real, but they're actually hallucinations. They're just entirely fictitious, made up. And so overall, when I looked at 5 discussion forum posts, ChatGPT was able to score 11 out of 20. It was actually able to raise reasonably good points for the pedagogical reflection. The references, though, and the scholarship was often inappropriate and made up. The contextualization, it couldn't really contextualize and personalize like humans can, and one of my students could. The argumentation, in terms of how it was written, was actually pretty good compared to a lot of the work that I might typically get from undergraduates. And in terms of being able to provide peer critique, constructive feedback, it actually performed quite well. So in terms of the learning technology module, the way this task works when I do it is small groups of students design and develop a Google Classroom module, and they do it based on local syllabus documents, and they provide a written justification of their designs and a critical reflection of their group work process. So obviously ChatGPT couldn't create a Google Classroom module. That's something that the students had to do. So the more authentic nature of the task, and that involved multimedia and production using technology, meant that ChatGPT couldn't attempt it. But it could do and make quite an attempt at the justification of the design. So in explaining the design to ChatGPT, it was able to create what looks on the surface like a reasonable scholarly argument. When I marked it according to the criteria, because it wasn't able to create the actual module, if a student sort of submitted this, I might give them sort of 9 out of 40 overall. For the final exam essay was a synthesis task to just really talk about what they'd learnt, the issues were with using technology in education, and provide strategies how to overcome them, and providing examples. And giving that task to ChatGPT, it was able to have a good crack at it. It would, though, still hallucinate on some of those references, and it wouldn't provide the length of response that a student might want for the essay. So they can ask to elaborate on just generally on extra points. You can also ask ChatGPT to elaborate on specific points. It still was hallucinating. However, overall, I felt that a student might, for that exam essay, be able to get maybe sort of 19 out of 30. Maybe that's a little bit generous, but and that's also not taking into account that nowadays I'd be on the lookout for students submitting ChatGPT. This was marked as though I knew nothing of ChatGPT and I just received that response. So overall, ChatGPT actually came pretty close to passing this undergraduate education technology unit. Not quite, but you can sort of see that the multiple choice questions were quite high risk. Forum posts maybe medium to high risk. Learning technology module, more authentic task, was lower risk. And the online exam was high risk if it was online. And that's why we hear that a lot of people are going back to face-to-face exams, even if they're still digital face-to-face exams that are held in computer labs. But the point is, ChatGPT could easily be used by a failing student to pass. So what I recommend at this point is to pause the video and log in, have a go, and examine how ChatGPT responds to tasks from one of the classes that you teach. In terms of just a discussion of what we just experienced, look, do be aware that there are detection tools emerging: AI Content Detector, AI Cheat Check, GPT-0. And there's also professional learning that teachers can engage in. This is just one of the online free courses that are becoming available. Overall, ChatGPT constitutes quite a leap in the sort of assistance that technology can provide to humans and students. The quality of responses is currently variable. What's it going to be like in 6 months' time, in 6 years' time? It will keep rapidly improving. Obviously, the risk there is that just students will not learn because they're just copying and pasting from artificial intelligence. If we ban it in all circumstances, then we're not really preparing students for the world that they're entering into. An arms race of detection and subversion will be time-consuming, and it'll also deflect our attention from learning and teaching. Students will still need to learn basic knowledge and skills in the same way that they still need to learn how to spell and do arithmetic, even though we have spell checkers and calculators. But we do need to rethink what we teach them in terms of focusing more on those higher order thinking skills, creativity, the values to underpin the use of AI, etc., and also, therefore, how we're going to assess students. So we'd be really interested to hear what you think for your teaching. So we've created this ChatGPT teacher survey that you can access by following that QR code or the link provided on your screen. And you can talk about your perspectives of this new technology. The survey only takes around 5 minutes to complete. And you can also sign up to receive a summary of the results. And so we'd be really interested to hear your thoughts, so please consider doing that. So on behalf of Mark and myself, thanks for your time, and we look forward to hearing what you think.